Yo, what's up? My name is Langa Zulu, co-founder of Algorithm Lab. So I'm just going to take you through some of the steps that I think you definitely need to take, some of the skills that you definitely need to learn in order to maintain your digital presence, build your brand digitally on digital platforms, and take it straight to the world. Before we start, I'd like to send a special shout out to the IBB team, the Arts Business Bootcamp team, for bringing such a beautiful movement from the city of Umhlatuza straight to the world through the virtual platforms, the digital platforms that we use, be it YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. So my message today is dedicated to entrepreneurs. This includes obviously creatives. So if you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a producer, you're a fine artist, you're doing fine art, this message speaks to you. You could be a plumber, you could be an electrician, you could be a farmer. This message right here speaks to you. So it pretty much applies to everyone, because these are the skills that we definitely need for us to drive as young people within digital platforms. So we'll just start right here with the very first one, which is reading. Reading is such an important skill for you to learn and craft if you are to maintain your digital presence, because there is no way in which you're gonna build networks, build relationships, be able to harness the information and the knowledge that you need, be it from books, be it from blogs, be it from threads on Twitter, be it from posts on LinkedIn, if you cannot read. Some of the things that helped me in my journey was I used to read newspapers. I mean, growing up, of course I still do, but I would read newspapers every single day as a young boy, in primary, high school. 2 newspapers a day, 3 newspapers a day. Luckily for me, my old man would buy newspapers every day. So, but reading is a very important skill. So you read, and obviously I would have the dictionary right here, so that if there's any words that I don't understand, I can pause my reading, go into the dictionary, check for the word, and continue with my reading. And I would write, on my book, or next to the word, something like that. Obviously now we're on digital platforms, which is extremely easy for you to just copy the word and hit search, hit Google search, and then bam, you have the meaning, so that you can understand the context of whatever it is that you are reading. So read is such an important skill. Of course, embedded to that is knowing what to read, because a lot of people are reading these days, but they read crappy Facebook posts and horrible Twitter jokes, whatever, so obviously those people are misusing that skill. So the trick for you as a builder, as a producer, as an entrepreneur, is knowing what to read. So it's a very simple step on if you were to ask yourself, how do you know what to read? If you're on social media, it's about knowing who to follow. That's where it starts. So if a person normally posts about the weekend, about drinking, about the president is crap and things like that, then you obviously know not to follow that person. So I utilize the unfollow button like crazy. So if I see that this is not the content that I want on my timeline, this is not the content that I want to feed myself every day, I unfollow. Even if it's a friend, I do not care. I unfollow, so that I can make sure that I clean up my timeline and make sure that the stuff that I read on a daily basis is the stuff that matters to me, and the stuff that is going to progress me and develop me as an individual. So follow the right people on social media, people that are informative. It's very important. People that you know at the industry that you are in, which you need to seek information from, that you want to build relationships with. So follow those people, friend those people, comment, retweet, repost whenever they are posting. That's part of the reading journey. So that's crucially important, that you know how to read. also read. Speaking on reading, you're going to have to read blogs. That is very important. If you are a plumber, make sure that you subscribe to relevant blogs. There's so many platforms, we're still gonna get into them. There's so many platforms that you can use, be it Medium or WordPress, etc., etc. So but make sure that you follow the people, a lot of them within your industry, so that the stuff that you are reading adds value directly to your craft and your business. Let's move right on, because we have got limited time. You want to share, so that is very important. Once you have read whatever that is that you have read, you want to share. You must share. Let's get into the habit. I know for us Africans today, we used to share well back in the days, but in the modern era as Africans, we've become very selfish. And if you want to build your brand online on digital platforms, you cannot be selfish. You cannot afford, your brand cannot afford for you to be a selfish entrepreneur. So make sure that you share and share and share, and in that process, so you've read maybe a blog, an interesting blog, you've watched an interesting YouTube video, you've been listening to an interesting podcast. Now you want to share on your social media feed, be it on WhatsApp, to people that you know would find the content valuable. So you start sharing. You're sharing on your Facebook feed, you're sharing on your LinkedIn, or whatever platform that you are using. So that's pretty much important, and we're going to get to why it is important for you to share. So as you share, you are going to get to understand the people that resonate with the content that you are sharing, and that's a very important aspect of your business journey, because you're now understanding who your potential customers are. Because those people who are sharing what you have shared already, you're starting to notice, oh, hey, wait a minute, this person is always sharing this type of content that I'm always sharing, or they're commenting, or they're gonna challenge what you have shared, and things like that. That is part of the process. So sharing is crucially important. Also, it is building your brand, because you are associating yourself with some particular type of content in which those people, when they're searching for that content, they now know. Langa Zulu, for example, I share technology content. People know that they don't have to struggle. They just go onto my feed and they're gonna find all things technology, or at least a lot of them. So you're building your brand, and also associating your brand with the industry and with the right information and the progress. That is very important. Moving on through that process, is if you're reading, you're sharing consistently, you're going to learn how to write. That's very important in today's era, for you to understand how to write, and for you to craft your skill and develop your skill of writing. Because again, if you cannot write, how are you going to participate in these digital platforms? Because a lot of them involve writing. We still are to get into voice, so you need to craft your writing skill. There is no way around it. Unfortunately, this one you're gonna have to do. Now, where would you start? The sharing aspect that we just talked about. So as you share, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna copy a certain paragraph of that blog. You copy, and then as you share, you paste that paragraph, or that short line or two lines that resonate with you the most, and that you think that would sort of grab the attention of your potential audience. You share that stuff. Copy, paste. That's how you start in learning how to write. So as you copy and paste, you're going to start to see the pattern and the structure of writing, and you're like, oh, okay. From there, maybe you're gonna start adding in your one line into that paragraph, or into those two lines that you may have copied, that we are sharing online, maybe on WhatsApp or whatever. So that's how you start to learn the writing skill. So add in those one lines. From there, maybe you can even start to rearrange. How my trick, please don't tell anyone, is I would take that paragraph or those two lines, and then I change the words. Now, we already talked about reading and going to the dictionary, right? Which is why you also check synonyms and things like that. So you just take that paragraph, whatever, and then you replace the words in there with some of your words, taking into synonyms and some of the words that you replace this, you replace that, and then suddenly it becomes your writing. So that's how you would start the journey into writing if you find writing difficult. But it is crucially important, because also knowing how to write means if you can write well, you can express yourself beautifully as well. So that is crucially important, because also writing is an art. So you also want to brand yourself in a certain way. So that's very important that when you're writing, you make sure that you don't have errors, for example, things like that, grammatical errors, and those English basics, basically, that they're gonna come in crucially handy for you as you build your brand on digital platforms, because people do not want to follow a person who's sloppy, a person who doesn't pay attention to the detail, who puts in commas everywhere, because it reflects on who you are as a brand and the quality of your work. Okay, moving right on. You wanna be original and bold. Now, what does that mean? It simply means that of course, you've been reading other people's work, you've been copying other people's work and things like that. You haven't been yourself, but now you can just, write a few things right there and then. You now need to find your identity. Who are you as a brand, as an individual, and what do you stand for? What do you stand to achieve? What is your purpose? What is your mission? And that is where the originality would come from. That is where the boldness would come from, and that would push the creativity that you need for you to be unique, to be distinct as a brand and as a person. So that's crucially important that you become yourself. You don't become a copy of Vostembegoa, you don't become a copy of Langa or Nos Royal and whatever. You gotta be yourself, because people, I mean, if I can follow Vostembegoa, then why should I follow you if you're just a copy, a replica? I'd rather just follow the original. Get it? So you want to be the original as well in your own domain, in your own space, and so that you can dominate that space. And that is where dominance comes from. If you're playing in your own terrain, not in other people's territory. So you want to be original, you want to be creative. But obviously, if you're bold, if you are courageous, if you're original, that is where the element of creativity is going to come from. Moving right on, research. Of course you can read, of course you can write, so the element of research would now come in naturally. So it is very important that you also research. So that would mean that you have to read reports, for example, your industry surveys. They come in quarterly, yearly, biannually, whatever. So you gotta make sure that you read those reports so that you can also understand the trends, the patterns, the buying patterns, the market. Where is it going? Is there going to be a market crash in the near future, like it's happening right now? So you want to understand all of those things way beforehand. Like I understand, a lot of things that are happening right now because I've been reading about those things, books, YouTube documentaries and things like that, so you gotta prepare yourself. So research is also going to be important in how you prepare yourself for the future, how you realign yourself, where are the gaps within the market, is the market in those gaps that you're identifying. So all of that information you're going to get through research, is where you're reading the reports, the surveys, and everything in between. That's very much important that you do your research every day, okay, well, maybe not every day, but yeah, well, at least a lot of the time. Now, as you research, you are going to identify your audience. So it's very important that you identify your audience. So because as you do the research, as you read through the finer details, you'll find maybe your LSMs, maybe your target market. Who are they? Where are they? How much are they earning? And how should you price yourself? Because also as you're researching, you're also researching your competitors, or not necessarily your competitors, but people within your industry. And also learning from people even outside your industry and from other brands. Like my big inspiration is Red Bull, for example. So as a brand, so I draw a lot of inspiration from Red Bull. So if you're going to see the structure of our company, you're going to see even some Red Bull in there. So target market, yeah, well, that's just part of also your audience. And yes, we've touched on the issue of trends. Very important that you know where the trends are, where is it going. If you're in fashion, for example, what type of style are people resonating with? Are young people resonating with, or old people, depending on who you're targeting? If you are an electrician, where the trends are right now, there's big talks around 4AR, which is Internet of Things, which is connecting everyday things that we use, be it a microwave, be it a stove, be it a fridge. So as an electrician, you gotta know those things, so that if you find a client who's gonna say, hey, I want to connect my microwave, my fridge, and everything else into the cloud, into my app, how are you going to do that as an electrician? So it's very important that you understand those things, and if you are continuously reading, researching, knowing the trends, then you're going to prepare yourself and get those skills, get those tools that you need, so that when that client comes, you are already prepared for that step. As I said, with the research aspect, it's going to come in. What is going to come in is knowing yourself. So it's very important that you know who you are, as I said, and what you stand for as an individual. Your mission, Bagiti. Don't just say, I want to make money. No, I want to do cakes. No, I want to do clothing. What is your mission? So you're fulfilling your mission, your purpose, through clothing, through plumbing, through baking. You get it. So there's gotta be a bigger picture and a bigger purpose, and that is how you build your brand, because people resonate with their purpose. They don't resonate with what you do, because that is a gateway, that is a channel, but they resonate with what you're trying to achieve. Like us, what we're trying to achieve is digital transformation, as well as transformation within the space of education. But how are we doing that? We're doing that through coding as well as robotics. Get it? So consistency and obsession. So this is very much important, and because if you're gonna post once and then you disappear for the entire month because it's not going to work. So you gotta make sure that you are consistently online. You don't have to do it every day, because a lot of people are like, I don't have the time, I want to focus on my business. I get it, but just be consistent with what you're doing. So maybe you're gonna post once after 2 days and things like that, but whenever you're coming, just make sure that there's a bit of impact in there. So you're sharing something big, something that a lot of people would find valuable. That's very important also, that you don't just share. If everyone is just sharing about Corona right now, so it's like, if you're gonna share that as well, it's like, well, there's so many sources that I can find information from. So try and source out the stuff that a lot of people are not talking about, they're not sharing, but they will find valuable. So that is the trick right there, knowing what to share. So yeah, so in that process, in that obsession, in that consistency, you want to think big, but you want to act small, because obviously you're an entrepreneur, you're just a startup, you're a small business. You cannot do big things, like drone deliveries maybe, and things like that. So I'm just throwing that roughly. Of course you can't be a startup and focus on drone deliveries, but so you want to think big. So thinking big means you know the bigger picture of where this thing is going. You know how you want to dominate your industry within 10 years, for example. Like I know how I want to dominate the space of education locally as well as continentally, because there's a big gap in there. Hence we're building an online academy, robotics academy. So that's what we want to dominate, because we've realized that actually the traditional schools are not doing a lot of things that they should be doing in order to align the kids with the 4AR. So that's a space that we're occupying right now. So you want to think big but act small. So yeah, it's a very small operation with 20 kids, for example, but what our bigger picture is dominating the space of education to a point where we're getting acquired or selling the business. So we're acting small, 20 kids, but we're thinking big. So our approach is a global approach. We see ourselves as a global brand. It's a global operation, and hence we draw a lot of inspiration from Silicon Valley, from Shenzhen. So you get it, Israel, Tel Aviv. So that is where we are mentally, and we in our mind, that is the level that we're playing at. However, it's a small operation in Richards Bay. So you gotta, because a lot of people get stuck in this, where they've got big ideas but they don't know the small practical steps that they need to take from today, from right now. After you watch this video, what is it that you're going to do? You cannot have a drone delivery, right? If you're in a restaurant business, what steps are you going to take to get there. That is very important. That is going to determine your success actually. So act in small steps. Those small steps we just mentioned right now, reading, the sharing, those are some of the small steps. Building the networks, attending networking events, attending business events, attending industry related conferences and seminars. Those are the small steps that you need to take, because you're thinking big but acting small. Okay, now let's wrap up with the tools that you can use. Some of the tools that you can use on digital platforms. Of course, there's plenty of them. There's an infinite amount, but I'm just going to focus to some of the tools that I use. Typeform, a very beautiful platform, beautiful designs, you know. So you want to use it to data capture. And could be you're doing surveys, maybe you just want to understand your people, your potential clients. So you're just gonna prepare, there's templates in there. There's free platforms. It's a freemium platform, which means there's free options. But if you wanna go bigger, you can pay, I think the cheapest is about, is it 150 a month or 200 rands a month, somewhere around that. So Typeform is a beautiful platform. You can design it nicely so that when a person gets into your page, they can, you know, get that brand feel. So, but we're gonna get to also the design part. But on Typeform, you can just design templates. There's customer surveys, templates that you can even use there and copy and then delete certain things that are not relevant to your industry or your business, so that you can get the information out. How is it important? Because you want to understand again your people, where they are, where they work, what companies they work for, how much do they earn. So you want to understand those things. So it's very important that you do surveys from time to time and you read and check out surveys within your industry. It's a beautiful tool. It's also a beautiful tool. We also use it to register, for example, the kids in our academy. For parents who want to sign up their kids, we use Typeform for them to register, and then we pull in their data on the back end, and then we're able to email them, we're able to send them SMSs, we're able to put them on WhatsApp, but we've got the information and we understand who's our client, where do they work, their position at work, their kid, their email, obviously, where do they stay, and etc, etc. So Typeform is such a beautiful platform, so do check it out. Canva is a beautiful platform for design. We've been using it at Algo for the past 2 years now. It's beautiful. We cannot afford a designer, but I can design myself through Canva on mobile, on laptop, so it depends on what you want to use. Also, it's a freemium platform, which means there's also free options, but if you want to pay, you can still also pay as well. There's templates in there, so you can just design your poster and brand yourself nicely on digital platforms. If you're a plumber, electrician, yabo, so you share a poster yakho kamnandi laphana abantu bayabona, okay, well, the electrician learner is into digital platforms, and people will resonate with that, and you'll find that that will be the glue in that is going to keep and get you clients. By the way, Wave apps for finance, we've been using this one since 2017. It's a beautiful platform. It is a free platform, almost completely free, for invoicing, quotations, selling receipts. It's a beautiful platform. Do check it out. Just search for Wave apps. And then there's also an app in there, so which means you can send your invoices on the go. You can send your receipt when the client has paid on the go. If you're in a taxi, you're in a meeting, whatever, but you can be able to do, even if a person wants a quotation, you can send them a quotation within 5 minutes, because it allows you to add in your services, your pricing, so that it's easier for you whenever you're doing quotations and invoices. You just click yes, and then it does the totals for you, and then bam, you send to that person. Medium for blogs, there's so many other platforms for blogs that you can use, but Medium is also a great tool that you can use for you to write your blogs. There's a big community within Medium itself, so it's going to allow also to network with some of the people within your industry. And also you want to share the blogs through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, etc, etc. So such a beautiful platform. But you can use WordPress, you can use LinkedIn for blogging, and so many, depending on your industry and where your people are. Anchor for podcast generally, which simply means a radio show online, so you can record on your phone or laptop, or whatever. So it's such a beautiful platform because if you want to do a radio show for your business, for example, like where we've got a radio show, I'll Go at Work Robotics Radio, so that is also beautiful, where you have interviews, industry related interviews. Also, it's a beautiful tool to also catch your potential customers and build your brand as well. So you want to use Anchor because it distributes automatically to Apple Podcast or iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, etc. So many platforms. So you just post once on Anchor and then it automatically distributes to all of those platforms, so that you can save time and expand your network. So it's such a beautiful platform. LinkedIn, depending on industry in, but I'd advise for a lot of people to have a LinkedIn account and make sure that you're active on LinkedIn. It's such a beautiful platform. I use it. It works for me. It works for us as a brand. We are getting, because the high profile people are on LinkedIn. That's the thing. You're not going to find them on Facebook. Yeah, well, some of them are on Twitter, but they're on LinkedIn. You can easily inbox them. They're chilled. You can easily send in a proposal through an inbox. It's such a beautiful platform for you to network. But through the networking, you'll find that those skills that we have shared, the reading, the sharing, the writing, is going to build your network and your potential customers. So the directors, the CEOs, the managing directors, and whatever, they're all there on LinkedIn. So it's such a beautiful tool for you to get into close proximity with these people and build networks. So it's such a beautiful tool that I advise pretty much everyone to make sure that they are on LinkedIn and spend less time on Facebook. But of course, it would depend on where your people are. But hey, I'd say just focus on LinkedIn. Just focus on LinkedIn. Pay attention to LinkedIn. Twitter is also a great tool as well, by the way. But depending on who you follow. Closing this, IGTV, YouTube for videos if you want to do vlogs such as this one. So yeah, of course, when you want to do a TV show for your brand, you don't have to complicate things, guys. So you just you can run your TV show on your phone, on your mobile, and start building your brand like that, and sharing the information, sharing the little things. You don't have to be an expert, because this is the thing, other people think that you've got to be an expert for you to start sharing. No, the little things that you know, start sharing that. And those are the small steps that we're talking about that are going to allow you to build your brand and build your networks and lead you into your potential customers. I hope you had a great time. I hope this lesson was valuable for you. Until next time, if there ever will be, peace and love.